I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Science Fiction Divide, long overdue. I am still your host, Larry. Today I'm going to talk to you about animals and Riddick. That's right, three of what I consider actually very good, bordering on fantasy movies, granted, but some of my favorite science fiction movies. The Chronicles of Riddick, and it all started with Pitch Black. Particularly, two aspects to these movies. One, Riddick is painted out to be an anti-hero. Now, we define an anti-hero as somebody who we're kind of rooting for in the course of a series, a movie, a book, but the person's moral character is in question. Somebody that we would not say particularly, I want to be like that person, or I want my kids to be like that person. We may want to be like them, but nobody's going to say, I want my kid to be like Riddick. There's a good role model for my child, because his morals are in question. But if we look at him through the series of those three movies, what did he ever really do where we could question his moral character? Now, we know he's a bad guy because he introduces himself as
Richard B. Riddick, escaped convict, murderer.
So we could then assume, coupled with the fact that he's being transported to a slam by someone we assume is a police officer, that this is a dangerous person. However, through the course of all three movies, and if you include the extended universe, the Butcher Bay, and I can't remember the cartoon that they made for the Riddick universe, that when we look at him, he never really does anything wrong. He doesn't murder people. He's violent, no question there. He is aggressive. He is the type of person that you don't want to meet in a dark alley. He threatens innocent people, but he never harms them. We see plenty of examples of this throughout the movies, where the only people he kills, from a Hollywood standpoint, we could say they deserve it. He only harms the bad guys. When it comes to Jack, when it comes to the Imam, when it comes to other characters throughout the saga, he's willing to help those who are less fortunate than him, less able-bodied. He may want them to keep up and keep at his pace.
If you can't keep up, don't step up. You'll just die.
But he never really does anything to put the innocent, and I'm putting all of these in quotations because we don't really know the people well, but he does what he can to keep them safe and preferably alive. Now, I know that he is still an anti-hero. His moral character and his approach to life is very self-interested. He is looking out for number one. This is typically something that we don't look at as a hero characteristic, whether in our own culture or in movies. We typically like people who look out for everybody else, even if we ourselves may not behave that way. But he does do good throughout all three of those movies. The other thing that I wanted to address in the Riddick story is his relationship and the overall narrative when it comes to animals. Now, the first movie, Pitch Black, starts off with,
They say most of your brain shuts down in cryo sleep. All but the animal side.
Now, is Riddick an animal? technically, as humans, we're all animals. We've evolved from other species. To consider ourselves separate from them is unwise at best. These other species, they have thoughts, feelings, use tools, they can be creative. There's what we used to think was all of these things that kept us separated from the animals one by one. We find that we're not so unique. The only thing so far that I haven't really seen is the opposable thumb. You know, I know most of the other great apes may have 5 fingers and a thumb, but as far as I can tell, that's the only thing that so far that really keeps us different. Aside from using technology better than the generation before. But there are other creatures that use technology, that use sticks, that use tools. So we're not unique in that manner. But to get back to the point, Riddick, in each of the movies, either makes references to or shows kindred-ship with animals. There's 2 specific examples that come out really well, and you see that in the second and the third movie. In the second movie, you have that animal that seemed like a chameleon. And then in the third movie, you had what they kept referring to as the dingoes, or basically the dogs. You know.
Okay, now.
This is something that we do see in our world. You know, we do see people wanting to have relationships with animals. Now, I'm not going to make the argument that because Riddick is so violent and tough and rough that he works well or better with animals. That's not the case. But with the way we treat animals typically has a lot to say about how we treat ourselves and other human beings. And I think this ties into my feeling that Riddick, though definitely not a hero, is not a bad person. Typically, the people who mistreat animals are the ones that the rest of us, find very easy to discount. I mean, there was some very high-profile dogfighting fights in the last few years, and the way the media paints those pictures, paints those stories, our culture turns against those people very quickly, with few exceptions. Nobody likes to think there are people out there that intentionally harm animals for self-interest. Now, I'm not arguing about the idea of meat eating versus non-meat eating. I personally am not a vegetarian. I like meat. Sure, could that mean that I am directly responsible for the harm of a lot of animals? I suppose you could say, you can make that argument. I can't really argue against it. But I do not think that I'm the type of person that when given the opportunity to harm an animal would take you up on that offer. I personally would make a horrible hunter, and in the event of an apocalypse where we have no access to supermarkets, I have no doubt I would starve. I don't hunt, I don't know how to skin an animal. I stopped fishing long ago. So, having said that, Riddick's behavior toward animals is very friendly and very symbiotic. He also takes control. He is the alpha dog in both the scenarios of both of the animals that I presented. He does the same thing with humans. In a way, you could say he treats humans like animals. He is the one in charge. He is the one who will be in control of other people, and we see many examples throughout the Riddick movies of how he is able to manipulate situations to his advantage. Having said that, Riddick himself, I don't really see him as a bad guy. An anti-hero, yes. Questionable morals, yeah. Questionable behavior, yes. But evil, no. I don't really see it that way. I think that at his base, he is a good person. Not someone I'm saying I would want to affiliate myself with, but I'm saying I believe he is a good person. So, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Science Fiction Divide, and hopefully I will see you soon in my next video. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.